Hello?
Hello,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Sorry about the confusion.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, I'm glad that you finally got back to me. That's good. What years were you at Spring Creek?
So 2001 to 2003, like the end of 2003.
Okay, and how long were you there?
2.5 years. Yeah. Oh, gosh, I feel like I've blocked so much of it out
Yeah, I understand.
due to the complex PTSD.
Yeah, I,
And people ask me questions, and there's some things that I used to remember really well, um and other
yes, it's
things are
almost,
just like so hazy that's just not there, that my mind has just chosen to just block out.
yeah, yeah. By the way, for those listening, this is Lacy. I'm Jordan. Once again, this is straight out of bullshit podcast. Just I forgot to say that in the beginning. Um, so you think almost about 2 years, you said?
Yeah, about 2.5 years. Yeah.
Okay. And did you go through all the seminars? Did you graduate or did you get pulled?
I did not know. So yeah, I watched Rogue's interview yesterday, and I was pretty similar to hers as well. They had put me through, I don't know what you want to call it, but I guess like a trial period of,
Upper
uh,
level experience?
y- yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
to see if that would work as well. And
Yeah, see if it would motivate you or whatever more maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
for me, you know, I, I was really confused. I was like, for one, I didn't really understand, for one, why I was really there, and why, I guess, what I was doing, why it wasn't working, and it was just blowing my mind.
yeah. It's culture shock. It's crazy. I
It,
mean, everything's stripped from you, your whole identity, everything. So it's definitely a shock to the system.
well, the whole thing felt like it was just, how do I say this? It felt like it was like a scam to keep you there longer. Um,
Like kind of drag things out as long as possible, type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, every day it was like, I would try hard. I would make sure I would, follow the rules, and I would get frustrated because, I, they'd say, oh, you get, cat two for looking at the boys. And I said, well, I didn't. And they said, well, yeah, you did. No, I didn't,
yeah.
you
It
know?
almost gets to a point where I mean, at least I felt like like I would try so hard and like even like like the program is where a lot of my perfectionism and OCD comes from because everything had to be
Hmm.
perfect and I had to be like I had to like micromanage my life and like just I'd be on edge constantly like am I doing something wrong and then sometimes they consequence you like just they target you sometimes they just didn't like you, and they just target you or they'd see some people just saw others doing good. I knew some junior staff, actually several that would just, if they knew you were doing good, they would purposely find things like they'd nitpick,
Oh
just like
yeah. Oh yeah.
constantly.
And I saw that on a regular basis.
Yeah,
And I found it frustrating because I would get continuous letters, from my parents. I don't understand why aren't you doing good? We want you to come home. And, in my mind, I'm like, well, I am doing good. Why
yeah, I'm
can't you
trying
see?
my best. Yeah,
Why can't you see this?
yeah,
I'm following the rules, but why can't you see that? They're manipulating you. They're manipulating me.
yeah.
And I quite honestly, I thought that I was going to end up dying there, the program. And that's what I told my husband. I was like, I don't see any way out of here.
Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah,
know.
that's how a lot of people felt. I mean, I felt like that for a portion of my program. I haven't talked about this yet, and it's one of the reasons I explained it in my story or whatever. You know, I want to make several parts out of it because I just don't think my story can ever really be fully told because there's just so much shit, you know. And there's a lot of shit that I blocked out and stuff. But yeah, fuck. What was I saying? Yeah, okay, so I was saying that there's a lot of things I blocked out, and fuck, I just lost my train of thought. I apologize. What were we talking about before that?
We're talking about the program manipulating parents and the children.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that everybody was being gaslit, and like nobody knew what was actually going on in the schools, and it's just everything was being monitored with the letters, and it just became so frustrating because like your parents never see like what you're actually doing, like, and how much you're trying, or like how much you're hurting, or like they don't really hear the real picture of things. And I knew from at least my experience that it was really hard to get the point across to my parents. They were just, you know, even when I was on a phone call, they'd be like, oh, take the phone from you if you started to be like, oh, I'm sad or whatever. Even if you mentioned you're sad or depressed, they'd be like, oh, no, take the phone from you. You can't talk about that. You have to be
Mhm.
happy. And it's almost like you have to fake your emotions there.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So walk us through your first day there. Like what you can remember.
So I felt really blindsided, quite honestly. I remember being on the airplane, and because I remember watching the video of this place thinking it was going to be like, oh, horseback riding. Oh, that's a lot of like outdoorsy stuff, which is, a lot of things that I enjoy doing. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this is gonna be a lot of fun, and
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
the way that they portrayed it to be.
yeah. Like it's gonna
And
be some vacation or something. Like it's gonna be relaxing or something.
yeah, and
At
so
least,
we're going up, the dirt road,
yeah,
and
the
we
windy
we
one.
get we get out, and I remember what I was wearing. Believe it or not, as odd as it seems, it's been over 20 years.
Yeah,
And I, was just so blindsided. And they're like, you need to change out of your clothes and you need to do this. And I'm like thinking, what is going on? Like, this is so strange. Um, and I think where it really clicked was when um, I got into, because I was in Destiny Family.
yeah,
And when I got in line and they told me to do something, and I said no, no,
yeah,
I don't think so. And they
yeah,
said, yes, you need to. And
yeah.
so at that point they sent me to the Hobbit, and I was like, whoa, like, what is going on?
And that was your first day there that you got sent to the Hobbit?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh wow. Yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
I'm pretty familiar with the Hobbit. I spent about 4 or 5 days there at one time. I can't remember exactly if it was 4 or 5, but 'cause I kind of lost track of time after a while, just from the disassociation that happens in there because you're not a well, it's just essentially a padded room. It's solitary confinement, and so I can't even imagine doing that on the first day. That's crazy. Just and you're already processing all of this new stimuli and like new situations around you, and it's overwhelming as it is, and then you get sent to the Hobbit. That's crazy. That is crazy. I feel for you.
Well,
Definitely.
I think for me it was like, here it is, somebody that I don't know, and you're telling me to do all these things that I'm not familiar with. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with you, and so
It almost puts you in a position where it's like, am I being kidnapped? Am I being taken advantage of? Like what can happen? You know what I mean? Because you have no idea who these people are, like where you are even at this
well,
point.
Well,
Like the first day.
are you telling me to do something that's safe? Are you telling me to do something that I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah,
You know, or do my parents know about this?
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Um, so, you know, and it wasn't a matter of like, no, I don't really want to listen to you. It was like, I'm not really sure if I should be doing this kind of thing.
yeah. Just completely
Um,
blindsided and confused.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. That's crazy. So you went to the Hobbit, and then did they keep you there for a long time, or did you?
Um, I was there the first time I was there, I'm trying to think, not for a long period of time. And then I
Okay.
was sent back, but then I went back again.
Yeah,
I was there, I think, a total of 3 times.
yeah. Okay, so you know about the Hobbit and whatnot. So
Yeah,
then,
so I was
like,
like, okay, you know what? I just need to shut my mouth
yeah,
and just do this thing. Whoever these people are, they're crazy. I just need to figure this thing out and just do this.
yeah.
Whatever's going on.
It's almost like you have to figure out a game. It's almost like I feel like it was a game, sort of. You know what I mean? And like you have to figure out the game. You have to figure out what they want you to say and what they want you to do. And they took me about a year of rebelling before I was like, okay, if I'm gonna, I was like, I need to start working my program and so I can get out of here. But how exactly do I go about doing that? And so, that was a big part of it.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant at first. Like they said, you know, you need to work the program, and I said, well, what are you talking about? 'Cause I don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, what are you talking about?
yeah. Yeah,
Y-
it throws a lot of people off, especially because not everybody was even had trauma really before they went there.
Well, and
So
you
it's
know,
like,
and
what?
the weird thing is, you know, there was a lot of girls that, you know, showed up in our family that were like, oh, well, you know, my mom and dad sent me there, you know, sent me here because, you know, I just don't listen from time to time. And, you know, they said I just need to straighten up a little bit. So, okay,
Yeah,
well, I guess if they really want to spend that kind of money,
yeah,
but
yeah. It's crazy. I mean, this place was expensive from what my parents have told me. I mean, what they
oh, it was
told me was like
insane.
ridiculous, man.
Well, my parents
Like,
spent my money to send me there. So,
yeah, they
um,
told me that there goes your college education essentially. And I was like, and I looked into it and it's like, that shit's expensive, man. Like, it's no joke. Like, and so with that, there comes abuse to power and all sorts of shit. And it's just, it's messed up. I feel for you that you had to go to the Hobbit on the first day. That's crazy. Did it take you a while to, like, how long would you say did it take you to like, get into like swing of things? Be able to like earn points or whatnot.
I don't know. Honestly, I about a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's about average. Like the longest I've heard from somebody has been like a month to situate. It took me a long time to situate though too, because I was when I came there, I was an acceptance whore, and I just wanted to fit in. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was an acceptance whore, and like I got caught lying about something to try and fit in, like on my second or third day, and that bit me in the ass so hard, like because they wouldn't let me live that down. The fact that I tried to lie about something and got caught for trying to fit in or whatever, because I was lonely when I got there. When the realization hit, I was extremely lonely, and I just wanted like somebody to talk to, somebody that I could trust, and like a friend, and I felt completely alone. And so, I was just trying to say and do anything to like fit in, and it was hard for me. It was really hard to make relationships. How easy was it for you to make relationships in the family?
I felt like it was, you know, there were so many girls that kept coming and going so frequently that it just made it hard.
Because it almost it felt to me at least like when I would start to get close to somebody, something would happen to them and they'd end up in either study hall and intervention, and I just wouldn't see them hardly ever, or they'd get pulled, or they graduate, and it's like I already have problems getting close to people, and so the hurt of them leaving or whatever, I already have problems with people leaving in my life, so it makes it hard. It makes it almost not want to make as like deep of connections with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had one girl that she had the most beautiful voice, and I'm not gonna say her name, but my dad would send our family rep would sign off on these music lyrics, and then the family rep would print them out, and then every night this girl would sing these songs to us at night, and I would just start bawling.
Yeah, I bet that was pretty relaxing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember at night one of the night staff would some of the night staff were jerks, but there was a couple of the night staff that would let me actually, because at nighttime I felt was more of a time when I could like actually get off my bunk and like socialize somewhat if the night watch or whatever was chiller or whatever, because there was some night watches that would let me go around like to other bunks and like interact with people and like have conversations, and I remember having really deep conversations with a lot of my closest friends at night, just talking about like how we felt and like how we missed our families and like what we missed, and like definitely. So that's cool that they let her sing. It's like a release from all the just anything, even something as simple and like minuscule to us, like to somebody on the outside, is so like meaningful to us.
It's like Christmas. It's like such a big deal, I mean, and yeah.
It makes you appreciate like all the little things,
It does.
It really does. And so there's definitely like a lot of positives and negatives to my experience. And would you say overall your experience was positive or negative?
Oh gosh. That was horrible.
It's horrible?
It was absolutely horrible. Yeah, I would never consider putting a child through that.
Yeah, neither would I. Neither would I.
There was a time frame where I was considering putting myself inpatient.
Okay.
The mental health had gotten so bad where I just couldn't handle. I couldn't deal with life. I'm really good right now. I'm not sure if the complex PTSD will fully go away, but I have a 15-year-old daughter, and her best friend was actually sent away, and so I'm trying to help her through it right now.
Sent away to a boarding school like the one we went to, just for clarification.
Yep.
Okay.
It's called Discovery, and it's an all-girls facility in Utah.
So she's like reaching out to you, and you're helping her like deal with that whole process and the feelings and whatnot.
My daughter, yeah.
That's great. That's good that you're there for her. It's a good thing.
I was trying to convince the parents not to, and it's just hard because the parents lost their oldest daughter due to suicide, and their daughter that they just sent to the program was kind of going through a similar issue, and they were afraid they were going to lose her, and it's just hard because as a parent, you just don't know what to do,
and you want the best for your kids.
You do, and but
well, for the most part, I can't speak for all parents. There are some horrible parents out there, but for the most part, an average parent will want to help their child, and will do anything that they can to help them.
Yeah, but you know, man, these places, you just don't want to send your kids to these places.
No, they're not good. They're not good. Their money suck. What I've noticed is that they'll go into like smaller towns and then they'll just run the entire economy. And so anybody that has anything to say about it, they'll be like, cool, then leave. Because we pretty much run the economy here. You're not going to say anything against us. I mean, that's what I feel like they did to Thompson Falls. That little town close to Spring Creek. I mean, because I watched a documentary and they were saying that so much of the economy, like 2/3 of the economy there was Spring Creek. So people just didn't want to hear it about. They'd be like, yeah, but they provide a lot of jobs for people. Yeah, but they're abusing kids. Yeah, but they provide jobs. And it's like, yeah, but you're missing the point. They're abusing fucking teenagers. Like, it's just horrible.
Yeah, I had actually left there twice because I turned 18 when I was there. And they had told me, they said, nobody's going to pick you up. And I said, well, why is that? And they said, because everybody in town knows kids from Spring Creek and they know not to pick you up.
So they were trying, because had you taken your exit plan then?
Oh yeah, I did twice.
Okay. Did they try and make you go to the 18 and over program, or was that a thing when you were there?
That wasn't a thing.
Okay. Just curious. Okay, so you took your exit plan. What was the exit plan in your situation?
So for mine, my parents said I needed to graduate or I wasn't welcome back home.
Okay. Did they give you any money, or did they?
Nope.
When you left, they
nothing.
just let you walk down the road?
Yep, they said I'm on my own.
Wow, that's even worse than what I heard. What I had heard is that they give people $20 and then they'd walk them down the road or whatever. But that's horrible, Like, just walking down the road itself is horrible. Like having no money, like anything. I mean, you're in the wilderness. Where the fuck do they expect you to go? They just want you to get eaten by a grizzly bear or something.
They said, well, we just want to stress the importance of graduating the program.
Yeah, and they try and gaslight it and like mask it up as something, not as bad, when it's just, you're just a cruel human being. You know what I mean? What you're doing is just cruel.
Well, and the truth of the matter, my mom still thinks it's the best thing, that could have ever happened. Which blows my mind, and I've shared with her stories of abuse that's happened at the facility, and I don't know. She's like, oh, well, Mike Linderman was just so great. How come, he shares such great things about the place then?
Yeah. Well, my mom's kind of similar. My mom actually, I'm actually gonna have my mom on this podcast eventually. I told her, I was like, look, man, if you want to be on my podcast, that's fine. But I'm telling you, your outlook on it, and I'm gonna be encompassing the good, bad, and the ugly on this podcast. I'm not gonna discriminate against. I'm gonna just tell all the stories because all the stories deserve to be told and whatnot. But I told her flat out, like, a lot of people are going to disagree with your opinion. I already see it.
Yeah.
Because she believes that it was like one of the best things for me too, and I tell her, yeah, but look at all this stuff that happened, and she's like, yeah, but that was like far and in between, and like I don't want to put words in her mouth. I'm not like quoting or anything, but she was like, those were just an incident here and there. And that's bound to happen in a big
wow.
corporation or whatever. And like I said, I'm not quoting directly, so don't hate my mom. But and I love my mom to death, but like she definitely has some opinions similar to what you're talking about. It can definitely be frustrating, but what I've realized is, like, I'm never gonna change anybody's mind. You know what I mean? Like, I personally myself know how it affected me. And I feel like that's the most powerful thing to me, is just knowing how much it affected me personally. And I also think that it helps to share your story, which is, why I made this podcast. I think everybody's story deserves a platform because I know how healing talking about things can be. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I still have nightmares, you know. It's definitely not as bad as they were, but you know, my first night back home, when I woke up to my mom flicking the lights on.
After you'd gotten back home from the program?
Yeah,
Okay.
and she started laughing because I flew out of bed so fast, and I started crying, and then she started laughing.
Yeah,
I
because
was I
you
was
were used,
so
you thought,
scared.
yeah, you were like still traumatized from, you think you're still in the program for a second.
Yeah, she thought it was the
Yeah.
funniest thing ever because she wanted to see it for herself, how
Yeah, that's
fast I was
fucked
gonna
up.
come flying out of bed.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up. She told you that?
And well, no, I just know my mom. She just she
Yeah.
wanted to see it for herself.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's messed up. That's fucked up, playing off somebody's trauma like that. That's messed up. I will say that. And I definitely deal with recurring. I actually deal with recurring PTSD nightmares. I don't get them as often anymore, but I definitely have these night. I call them night terrors or night tremors. I mean, I just wake up screaming, covered in sweat, and it's horrible.
Wow.
And it's just, and a lot of it, I can't remember my dreams most of the time. So a lot of it, I don't even know
Yeah.
what happened. When people are like, oh, well, you should talk about it, da 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 da, it'd probably help. And maybe, sometimes you can interpret your dreams and the meanings behind them, but I can't remember them for the death of me. But yeah. So let's see here. You have um, didn't complete the program. Uh, what did you have any experience when you were there with any runners? Like anybody trying to run?
Um, they were typically pretty good at keeping it under wraps at that time.
Okay.
Um,
So there weren't that many people like
there
run.
there there were as far as what I can remember. If I remember right, I think it was primarily more the boys
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've noticed too.
than the girls.
Yeah, yeah. So it
Yeah.
was a little bit more mellow. Well, not mellow, but like people weren't running as much. It was probably more locked down. Probably more rules is what I've heard. Is that the earlier in its inception, or the earlier on in its inception or whatever. Sorry, they were stricter, and there was a lot more rules against things, which would make
Yes,
sense to have
a
less
lot a
runners.
lot
If
more.
there's Yes, which would make more sense to me to have less runners if it's a lot more strict. So that makes sense. Okay. Um, did you attend wilderness survival at all, or do you know what
No.
that is?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and did you ever experience any staff like grooming or being inappropriate with any of the students?
Me personally, no.
No? Okay. Um,
I kind of suspected with a couple of the girls and a
mhm.
staff member, but
What made you suspect it?
um because they were always really flirty with one another, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything per se.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe a little bit more friendly than they should have been being sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I hear what you're saying. Um, yeah, that's going to be one of those questions that I think I'm going to ask in a lot of the videos, just to like, because I know that it's out there, and I know somebody's eventually going to probably have some story about some staff member doing something. Because I've heard rumors. I've heard a lot of rumors. And you're in intervention. Were you in study hall or worksheets a lot?
No,
No?
no, just
They
why
just
did I
sent you
just
straight to the
now
Hobbit?
why did I just forget the name of it? The Hobbit, yes.
They just sent you straight there? That's
Straight
fucked
to the
up.
Hobbit. Yep,
That's
straight to the
fucked
Hobbit.
up. That's fucked
Yep.
up. How has the program affected you to this day? Positive, negative?
No positive.
No positives? All negative?
No, all
Okay.
negative.
Okay. And let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I would say the biggest thing, I went through a lot of extensive therapy. It's just primarily being heard.
Yeah.
You know, and being understood.
Yep. I definitely relate to that. Because hearing and listening are two different things. You can listen to somebody but not hear them, and you can hear somebody but not listen to them. So and the difference, in my opinion, is when you're listening to somebody, you're hearing them, right? You're hearing what they're saying, but you're not interpreting it. But when you're hearing them, you're actually interpreting what you're listening to. So there's
Right.
and so you can kind of, at least in my experience, I can tell when somebody's listening to me and being interactive and understanding what I'm saying, because they kind of bounce off each other in conversation and it kind of flows naturally. So I'm glad that it helps to talk about it.
It's kind of weird because I feel like I haven't really talked about it in such a long time. I think the only person I've really discussed it with was, my husband, my kids, and my therapist.
Well, it's kind of hard I feel like, to initially reach out and start talking to people about it, because a lot of people don't understand what it's like. They just don't. And even if you explain it to them, they still will never understand unless they went through it.
Well,
So
I think most people look at you and I think they look at you differently and they want to know, wow, what did you do to end up in a place like that?
yeah, you must have been so horrible. Look at them. What did they do? What did they do that's so horrible? And there's a lot of people. There's a huge misconception that these kids were all bad. They got sent to these programs. Yeah, there were definitely some bad, quote unquote, kids there. They probably, if they weren't there, they might have died or whatnot. But there was also a lot of innocent, beautiful teenagers there, inside and out. You know what I mean? Like they're just beautiful people inside, and they're there because they just disagreed. They ran away. They had started experimenting. In my situation, I had just started experimenting with weed and drinking a little bit of alcohol and running away from home, and a little bit of disrespect towards my parents. And so there's kids like that, and then there's kids that get sent there from the courts and whatnot. So yeah, I'm definitely glad that you were ready to come tell your story. Hopefully it helps to talk about it.
I think sometimes, and other times it's like, I don't know if it does or not. For me, my parents were divorced and my mom was always working and was never really there. My dad was always too busy, was always worried, and busy with his wife. And so I didn't really have anybody there. I felt like I didn't anyway. And so at that particular time, well, I don't know if, well, I don't even think you were born at that time, but we had
I was born in 91.
We had Yahoo chat at that time.
Okay.
It might have been right around that time when you were born, maybe.
Okay.
And so I started talking to a 30-year-old man. And so, I was seeking out for some type of attention.
Mm-hmm.
As an adult now and as a parent now, that would horrify me, to find out if one of my children did that. And
Yeah.
I understand that now, but you know, when I was a child, it was like, you know, yeah, I was seeking out some type of attention from somebody because
Yeah.
I just didn't have it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't getting it. He came to pick me up at my dad's house. My dad has this really long, steep driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I thought, okay, if he picks me up at the bottom of the driveway in the corner where my dad can't see, you know, my dad's not going to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he came to pick me up at the bottom of the driveway and we went to the beach. Now, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
So we go to the beach. Thank God nothing happened.
Yeah.
And he takes me home. Thank God. You know, but I was a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Okay,
A lot better.
what is a 30-year-old man doing with a 15-year-old girl?
Grooming her.
Seriously, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely grooming behavior.
So yeah, so I come home. But I tell my dad I was going for a run.
Yeah.
So I come home. I'm jogging up, right?
Mhm.
And my dad says, "How was your run?" I said, "Oh, it was great." I'm like, I'm not sweating at all.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I didn't break a sweat, huh?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, shoot." So I come inside and like I just know that I'm caught.
Yeah. 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 You know
And
the
so
game's up.
yeah, and he's like, "Who was that person at the bottom of the driveway?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm still trying to hide it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, tell him
Yeah.
who it was, and yeah, I was. I don't know why I decided to do that, but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was the tipping point.
Yeah. That could have ended very badly.
Yeah, I absolutely it could have. I mean, yeah, I could have been killed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
I was lucky, but
Definitely. Definitely. Okay, so did you ever get onto the upper levels?
no,
No?
no, they did the trial
The
period,
trial
and
thing.
then that was it. No,
Okay, okay. Um, let's see. Um, did you did you have a commitment letter written to you? Did your parents write you a commitment letter?
commitment.
It's
Think
like
so.
it would like you would have known if you'd gotten it. It's like a letter that essentially says that we're committed to you graduating the program. Like nothing
Oh,
nothing you can say or do or whatever will change our mind. Essentially,
oh
it's
gosh.
a letter. It's like in a specific format. It's a very specific format. They have them write it in too, so you know if they got one, if you got one.
I want to say they did.
Okay,
Gosh,
yeah,
it's been so long. I want to say they did.
okay. I imagine they did it. Like most parents did. That was like kind of like a rite of passage type thing, is what I've heard. Is that if you were really serious, quote unquote, about the
Yeah,
program and your kid
yeah.
graduating, that was the thing to do. Um, let's see here. Did you experience any Spirit Month? Was Spirit Month, did that go on when you were there?
I don't remember that.
Okay, you would have been in the summertime. And were they having people work in the rock pit when you were there? Like hard labor?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Okay. And let's see. Is there anything in particular, like any crazy stories you want to tell, or anything that you just want to get off your chest about the program?
You know, I think the hardest part for me was it felt like the harder I tried to move forward, the further back I would go.
It's like 2 steps forward or 3 steps back type thing.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, and it just felt like I don't know how to describe it. It just almost like they were setting you up to just keep you there. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it does make sense. It makes perfect sense because I mean, and that's most likely. I'm not 100% certain that that's what they were doing, but more than likely, like 95% sure that they kept people there as long as possible, just like they keep people in prison as long as possible, to make the most money. I mean, I really think about it. Like, the longer you're there, the longer that they're going to be getting payments from your parents. So essentially, the longer they keep you there, the longer they will be getting fat chunks of money, and the more money potentially they'll be making. So I see that as a logical thing. You know what I mean? I feel like they
Yeah.
wanted
I
to
mean,
keep,
yeah.
I feel like they wanted to keep everybody there as long as possible, and it's really fucked up. I
Yeah,
definitely.
it just blows my mind that these places still exist. I don't know how it can be that they're still operating.
Well, I'm going to be doing this podcast and doing as much activism as I can on the side too. Possibly get some petitions going to help shut down some more of these places. I really just want to get them all shut down because I don't have any amount of confidence that would be worthy of me investing in believing that these guys could just be regulated and overseen, because I feel that the wounds are too deep now and it goes too far down. Like, I feel like the roots to this thing are too deep, and the people that are invested in these big companies that own the W.A.S.P corporation, they have too much money, they have too much influence. They could, I mean, like, if they were ever taken to court, I don't have any confidence that they'd ever be charged because they probably buy the entire court. I mean, I can, just by saying this stuff is going to probably ruffle some feathers, like, for real, because, like, I know that these people have so much money they feel like they're untouchable, but they're not. Anybody can be touchable if you get enough publicity on it. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is make people aware that, yeah, there was some good that went on in these programs overall, but in the big picture, most of it is bad and ugly.
What good are you referring to?
I mean, for me personally, I I know who I am now. I don't let people drag me down. I don't let people tear me down. I'm not breakable. People can't fucking talk shit about me. It doesn't affect me. Before the program, it did affect me. I'm an empathetic, loving, handsome, and powerful young man. I know who I am now. Like, those words, I live by those. And I learned that in the program. So as far as like those things, the only things I feel like ever helped me, and I graduated. So also have I also got to see both sides of the spectrum. I got to see like where there was small amounts of wisdom in the program and where there was a multitude of fucked up shit that went on. But to me, the I am statement and the purpose statement were empowering. And I know that like there's a lot of people that are gonna disagree with that, but just personally myself, I feel like the I am statement and the purpose statement was powerful for me. But other than that, I hated every minute of it. I hated every minute of it, and for the most part, I mean, there was also relationships I had in there. There was some friendships that I had with people in there that I cherish, and I still talk to some people that I was close to in there to this day. So I definitely
Yeah.
cherish those friendships and whatnot. But overall, and I'm not trying to in any way say that, oh, it's a good program, send your kids there. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that being sent there and being forced there to graduate from there were some bits of knowledge that I did gain from the program. But overall, it wasn't worth everything I went through for it. I feel like I could have accomplished the same thing in just therapy. You know what I mean? Enough therapy, you could accomplish the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I don't feel like you need to break people down to build them back up into the kind of person
No,
that
you
you want them.
don't.
You don't. I mean, that's one way to do it, but it's literally one of the most that's how you break people permanently. You break a person, you might not be able to build them back together again. Like, it doesn't, these people just, they're fucking massacring our fucking teenage youth, and it's crazy, and I want to get awareness on it, and I'm happy that I'm able to do something and give people a platform to talk about it.
Yeah, my parents hadn't told anybody that I was going anywhere, and I was really close with my grandparents. And I guess my grandmother went to my dad's house demanding to know where I was at because I hadn't showed up in like months.
Yeah, just out of thin air, just gone.
Yeah, she just banged on his door demanding to know where I was at.
Did they let her know?
Yeah. Yeah, and then I got I think I was there for like 6 or 7 months, and then all like out of the blue got a letter from them. I was shocked.
That's crazy. Well, at least you finally got a letter from him. Were you able to remain in contact with him after that? At least through letters.
I think I got 2. I'm not sure if that's because they told them to stop writing, or if that was, I'm not sure the reasoning for that.
Could have been any number of things, but it might very well have been that they told him to stop writing. There's so much gaslighting that goes on behind the scenes. I actually recently found my parents' manual that I'll probably be posting eventually. It's the parents' manual that was given to them that literally overviews like what you should do for your kid when they're there and what you shouldn't do. And so it lays out like your kid's gonna say all this manipulative shit, and they'll do like quotations of like certain specific shit that they'll try and say. Don't listen to them. They're manipulating. If they say they're sad, they're not sad. They're just trying to manipulate you to come back home. Like the entire thing is just built to fail, like on all ends. And it's so, that's another thing I'm just trying to help people understand too, is just how gaslit the parents were too. Not saying that every single parent was completely gaslit and that the wool was over their eyes. I'm not saying that at all. I want to clarify that. What I am saying is that there was a lot of parents that did have the wool pulled over their eyes. There was a lot of parents also though that just didn't want their kids at home. I knew several kids that got sent there. I'm not going to drop any names, but there was several kids that I knew in the families I was in that were literally sent there because their parents didn't want them at the house anymore. They just didn't want them around. So they just pretty much gave them up to the program. They just said, I don't want you anymore. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like an orphanage. Orphanages are fucked up too. There's a bunch of fucked off shit that happens in orphanages too. And so in my opinion, it's just an orphanage that abuses you. Like on a regular basis. And it's fucked up. It's messed up. I'm glad we're getting attention to this. And I'm glad you finally came and told your story.
Well, do you know people that can further this?
Like in what way? Like the petitions and whatnot?
Yeah, to help, get this shut down.
I'm going to be working on it. I don't know people personally right now, but that's part of this podcast is to network with people. And that's part of what I'm doing on Facebook is networking with people. And that's one of my long-term goals for this is to eventually get some petitions signed or whatever it takes to get these places shut down. And also like eventually if I start making a decent amount of income from this or any income at all, I'm going to donate a percentage of that to help teens in crisis. Like I might even like open like a nonprofit or something, like make like a nonprofit or something. I was also thinking about maybe having like a therapist service with people that have been through programs like this for people to talk to. But only have like therapists for people to talk to, maybe not even like quote unquote therapists, but just like peers to talk to that have been through these programs that can actually fully relate to you. Like you and I are talking now on a level, you know, that people can reach out and talk to, because not everybody's going to want to come out and share their story and like this, you know what I mean? And I want to just make it readily accessible for people to get help, because a lot of people are killing themselves and a lot of people are permanently damaged from these programs, and I want to be able to reach
so
out.
Sad.
And, yeah, I want to help these people.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do everything I can to help them. And it's something cool to do in my free time too, so that's always fun. And it helps if I can help people. So yeah, did you have anything further you wanted to say about your experience at the school?
No, I don't think so. It's definitely been a journey.
Definitely.
You know, I'm definitely really happy that I am where I'm at now. If it were 10 years ago, it was really difficult. I have to say, it was really scary. You know,
how was reintegrating back into society once you got out? Was that difficult for you?
Oh, that was hell. That was absolutely hell. There was no preparation. I didn't know how to function.
How to function, how to relate to people, how to talk to people.
It was like, you know, all we saw was each other. You know, we didn't see any other buildings, we didn't see any other humans, we didn't see any other cars, we didn't see anybody, any animals, anything.
Yep.
You know, we weren't allowed to talk to anybody else. We weren't allowed to like walk anywhere else, do anything. Everything we did was structured.
Yeah. Yep. Very structured.
So it was almost like, am I allowed to do this? Do I need to ask?
Am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get in trouble if I don't walk in sync with the person in front of me?
Is there somebody I need to ask?
Yeah. Do I need to raise my hand to be called on? Yeah. Do I need to be ready to self-correct at a moment's notice? Yeah, definitely. I found, I'm still learning I'm still finding my way to integrate with society to this day. It's works in progress.
I think the biggest thing was like not looking down at a male. That was like the biggest switch. Because
what do you mean by that?
Because we couldn't look at the opposite sex.
Okay, I just wanted you to clarify it.
Yeah, I mean, the males couldn't look at the females, and females couldn't look at the males.
Yeah.
That was the biggest one, I think, for me.
So when you got out, did it almost feel like a taboo almost to look at guys?
Yes, it was weird. It was almost like I felt like I was gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, like you hear self-correct in your head when you look at a guy.
Like, oh my gosh!
You're just like, get out of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really odd. And then like at times would kind of catch myself looking at somebody else's feet and like following theirs.
Yep. Trying to stay in sync. Yep.
I'm going, what? What are you doing?
Yep. And I always like make my bed. Like, dude, I have so many like little ticks and like things that I do now because of the program. Like, I have to have my bed made every morning. Like, it's just like some super OCD like perfectionism shit. Like, my room always has to be clean. My house has to be like super clean. I have to know where everything is. Like, everything has to be organized. Like, just, yeah.
And I think another one is the shower. That drives me insane.
Yeah, it's hard for me to enjoy the shower.
I cannot, for the life of me, take a long shower, and it
Yeah.
drives me nuts because it'll give me the second I get in the shower, I get anxiety.
5 minutes to water off.
I have to like hurry up and wash your hair, hurry up and put the soap on, hurry up and rinse the hair out. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
can I just relax?
Yeah, it's like I'm just trying to live my life. God damn it.
And even talking to my therapist about it, she goes, okay, can you just like maybe take in a deep breath and then like breathe out? I'm like, I've tried everything. Nothing works.
Oh
Nothing
my God.
works. I'm
I
like,
feel
literally,
you.
like nothing works. I just the anxiety starts immediately the second I get in the shower, and
Yeah,
it's been 20 plus years.
yeah, it's like ingrained into our genetics now.
It's so weird.
It's like they rewired our genetics somehow. Just to permanently like be like dealing with some shit in one form or another from these programs. But yeah, it's been a long, strange trip. And it's still a long, strange trip.
But yeah, little things like that like drive me insane. Where I'm, yeah. I don't take necessarily 5 minutes. I think I've gotten a little bit better, but the anxiety does not go away. I'm like, it just drives me nuts.
I feel you there. I feel you there. Definitely. And where are you located? Are you in? You said you were in Washington?
No, I'm in Arizona.
Oh, okay. It's cool. How's the weather up there?
Oh, it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah,
I have a very
100 today.
I have a very good friend of mine that lives in Sedona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I might go out there and visit. I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very hot. Very
Yeah.
hot. Be prepared.
Yep.
It gets up to about 120 come summertime, so make sure you dress accordingly.
For sure. All right. Well, do you have anything else that you want to say before we wrap this podcast up?
No, I think that's it.
All righty. Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you, Lacy. Thank you so much for sharing your story. To everybody who's listening, if anybody that wants to be interviewed, I have a link in the description of my YouTube videos and my channel. You can email straight out of BS podcast at gmail.com for inquiries about interviews, or you can message me on Facebook. Once again, thanks so much, Lacy, for telling your story. And if you ever want to do a part 2 or just catch up or whatnot, do another video, whatever it is, let me know. Just reach out and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thanks so much. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you too.
All right, bye.